And then we're gonna move into our AI demo session. And last, we're gonna finish off with a very fun discussion with our corporate venture panelists. Have fun. So today I'm gonna start off talking about successful fundraising and smooth operations, startups legal guide. And I only have 20-ish minutes to do this, so I'm not going to be able to tell you everything you need to know about startup law. But what I am going to do is I'm going to categorize a few key areas of startup law for you and help you spot issues, so that you at least know, okay, I do need to ask someone about this. No, I'm okay. And then third, why and when should you care about an issue? You don't need to be thinking about HR law all the time, or IP law, or corporate securities law all the time. When should you care? All right, so a little different, than probably other startup law that you've been to that just say, hey, these are 10 mistakes that startups make. And you're like, okay, I'll just try not to make those 10. We're just gonna try to give you some broad picture view of thinking about this. So what are tech companies made of? Really basically speaking, three things. You have the technology, right? You have the people, the team, and then you have capital to help fuel what you need to do. And hopefully these three, and again, this is a very basic way of breaking down, you're supposed to get some amazing output, right? Either some products, some services that the community really needs. Okay, so in terms of technology, what do you need to be thinking about technology? You need to protect your rights, and you need to think about monetizing the technology, right? So there's law that can help you protect your IP rights and help you monetize. Two, with people, you want to incentivize the people. So, the way you do that, there's law that'll help you figure out, okay, I want to give someone in stock options. How are they not going to be taxed forwardly so that it's meaningless to them, right? How can I benefit, And then restrict them from unwanted actions. You don't want your employees to develop some avant-garde technology with you for 2-3 years. You guys are buried in it for 2-3 years, and then he turns around and starts a new company with the same thing, right? And you want to be able to say to investors when they say, okay, I'm going to put $100 million in you, you want to be able to turn around and say, yes, I have all the rights to my technology. So that's really, that has to do with people, because they're the ones generating that technology for you, right? So we're going to talk about it in detail later. Okay, capital, process of getting money in, and the effects of that capital. All right. So, with technology, that has to do with, there's different contracts, and there's IP law, people, we're talking about equity incentives, employee consulting advisor agreements, HR employment law, companies' equity ownership for capital, financing documents, what does due diligence even mean, securities and corporate law. So one thing to remember is, and it'll be clearer to you later, is these areas are all interconnected. Each are, of course, also governed by federal, state law, and regulations. So there's contract component, and then there's the actual regulations. Okay, so let's start with the first category, right? So technology. Number one thing, you think it's very obvious, but it's not. And so many startups, whether I'm representing the investor side and doing due diligence, or a company says, okay, now we're going to get a lawyer, and I look through their files. One of the key issues that pop up is they may or may not own their technology. So for example, one, you have employees, and especially as a startup, maybe you start with many consultants, and you think, well, I don't want to get a lawyer, it's really expensive, so you don't sign any agreements with them. And they build you, they write you code, right? And they give you access to the code, but nothing is signed on paper. So by law, because they're the creator of that code or whatever the technology is, and they didn't assign you the rights to those IP, you and them jointly own it. So you don't own it all by yourself, even if you paid them. So just the fact that you paid for that technology doesn't mean you own it. So all these things need to be hashed out, even when you're hiring consultants, your employees. And sometimes, there's also people who have employee agreements, and consulting agreements, or they say, okay, I'm going to outsource, I'm focusing on the software part of my technology, so I'm going to outsource, this piece of, the software that we're building, and then, I'm going to outsource that part to someone else. But the agreements that they have with these partners or developers don't assign the IP to them. So what does that mean? It means when you turn around and you want to sell your final product, right? And most of it might be your technology. But there's one piece here that is important, and someone else owns it. And there's another piece here and someone else owns it. Then the investor or buyer, whoever it is going to come back and say, well, you don't own everything. If I have to go to someone else for that other piece of IP, then I want a lower price. So you don't want that to happen. So you want to make sure, and it comes down to a lot of details, right? Because if you just hire, if you're a startup, you only have consultants, employees, you just make sure, okay, each of my employees, they sign IP assignment agreements, confidentiality agreements, my consultants all do the same. If you have developer services, if you have partners, if you have distributors, if you're co-licensing something, then each of these agreements should be pretty clear about the IP that you're creating and who owns it. Okay, so protecting your technology, this is a whole field into itself, right? So I'm not gonna be able to go into every detail, but basically using patent law, trademark and service marks, copyright, trade secrets, you can help protect your technology, because especially if a bigger player or a manufacturer for your product infringes on the IP, you at least have some claim against them. If you don't have a patent, then you have no rights unless in your contract you say, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that. So it's really important to, even at a very early stage, to start thinking about what kind of law is there to protect the technology that I'm developing. Is it, can my technology qualify for a patent protection? Can is there, if I'm building a business model and there's some slogans, I think that, the way that I stand out is based on the quality of my brand, then I want to make sure that that trademark is in place in case anybody tries to use a similar mark to confuse people that they're also selling your same businesses, your same products. And then last, monetizing your technology. And again, I'm giving you a very basic overview because we aren't able to talk about all the details there is to know about startup law in 20, 30 minutes. But hopefully what it does is you can figure out, okay, why do people care about IP rights? Why do I need to get that IP assignment signed? Oh, because when I go to sell later, I want to be able to say I own all my IP. And to know what IP do I own? Okay, there's the software component, there's whatever hardware component, there's this, whatever it is that your technology might be, right? This kind of code, whatnot. So last part, monetizing your technology. One thing I would really suggest to companies is you can use term sheet to save on costs and shorten negotiation times. So especially in a complicated agreement, sometimes I have startup clients that come up to me and say, can you just give me a sample? And the thing is, I could, and you can find them on the internet these days, but they're not really going to help you if it's complicated and there's things specific to the partnership that you and this other company is building. But what is really helpful is for you to say, okay, what are all the things that matter to me and in this deal? Okay, IP rights, what do we think are the new IP that we're going to create? What IP of theirs do we want to use? What IP of ours do we think the partner is going to want to use? Also things like, is there cross-promotion components to it? Is there distribution services that we think this particular partners might offer us? So each of these get really detailed. So they're going to help you distribute, is it in certain type of geographic locations? Is it in certain type of stores? So if you can do a what I'm just calling really broad the term sheet to settle, to agree in your discussions, those key terms, then you can save a lot of time when you talk to your lawyer and they say, okay, I have a deal, and they ask you, okay, so what is the deal about? You say, okay, well, we already discussed all this, and your lawyer is probably going to tell you, okay, well, did you guys discuss this and that? And then you kind of fill in that rest of the terms, and then they draft that contract based on what you've already discussed. Okay, but you need to know what terms discussed. And some of the key things that seems obvious, but surprisingly, a lot of clients forget about this. So I've kind of hammered on IP rights today. One thing I'll add to it is who owns the data. So that's kind of a big, newer topic these days that we sometimes forget about, whether it's we are working with corporate partners, for example, and they're providing us some data, or we're the front end, we're building some sort of service, and we think we're going to monetize the data, but with our users, we never mention, okay, who owns the data? What is the data? So that piece, really needs to be defined to help you later on to monetize your business. Second, contracts help define expectations. So, recently there's this article about Mobvoi and Xiaomi in tech in Asia. And what happened is Mobvoi, this Chinese AI startup, is backed by Google. We're like, wow, okay, they're promising future, they're doing AI, they're doing the right things, they have Google backing them, they're working with Xiaomi, apparently they're doing something right. And what ended up happening was they did not sign any contract with Xiaomi, and apparently the story is that they were developing a visualization component for the Xiaomi TV that was supposed to come out. And they've been working for some months doing this pilot, and Xiaomi says, okay, when we announce the TV, we're going to announce you as a collaboration partner. And at the very last minute, the very last few weeks before the announcement, they say, okay, let's talk about the contract. How are we going to work together in the future after you announce this? And the terms were horrible. Mobvoi didn't agree. But the announcement is about to happen, and what ended up happening was Xiaomi didn't end up announcing Mobvoi as a partner, even with the launch of the TV, but there was no contract signed. So, one of the key things that contracts help you do, and forcing the parties to put something down on paper, is yes, whichever company that you work with, they can decide they're not going to follow what you say in the contract, but at least you have a contract and you can say, well, I could sue, I don't know if I will, but I do have this contract, they agree to me. If you didn't sign a contract, then you don't even have that, and it forces both parties to define what is my expectation in this partnership. Limiting your liabilities. So again, this is really brief things, but keep those in mind. And what I'm going to do at the very end is give you guys my part one of a startup checklist, and it'll kind of list some of the issues that you should keep in mind. And the whole idea is to help you know, okay, when and why you should care about the issue. You don't need to be thinking about these issues all the time. They come up, and you just need to be able to recognize it when they do. And okay, is it important right now? Okay, so termination, a lot of people forget this too in contract negotiation. Figuring out, okay, we're going to work together. If we terminate early, or for whatever reason, what happens? Am I going to pay back half of what you've already paid me? Are you going to, again, going back to IP, so if I'm halfway developing this thing for you, do you own my IP or do I own my IP? You didn't pay me the whole amount. I didn't finish developing the product. So those are things, and depending on the project, you might say, well, I did this halfway, I do similar things for 10 clients, so I don't really care about IP, it's halfway developed, you can have it, I can have it. But there's cases where you say, okay, this is a project that really means a lot to me, and there's a lot of interesting technology that I've developed, even though we're only halfway through. So if you're not gonna pay full amount for it, I wanna keep it. So these are things that you need to think about when you're doing any deal. All right, so key issues with people is really making sure all your employees sign confidentiality and invention assignments. And it's not just about the agreement having that title. You know, it's really about the terms of the agreement saying, okay, the IP that this person is developing all goes towards the company. So if they decide to leave at any time, if they work for you a week, if they work for you 6 months, 6 years, that IP goes towards the company. Compensating your team. So each of these are really huge topics. I'm just trying to give you the bullet points so you know, okay, what is involved here? What touches on startup law? So equity incentive plan, type awards. So a lot of times we see this, you know, ISO, NQSO, RSA, what's that mean? So ISO and NQSO, they're just abbreviations of stock option types. So you have non-qualified, you know, stock options, and RSA is restricted stock awards. So this is not stock options. And my next chart will show you how they're different. But you know, these are the kind of ways that a startup can incentivize their company, their employees to work for consultants, advisors, and a lot of what has to do with, oh, why would I give ISO or NQSOs, has to do with the regulations and taxes. So how can I prevent taxes to the company, taxes to the employee, and then vesting and acceleration. So some of these are pretty standard. Vesting, 4-year cliff, sorry, 1-year cliff, 4-year vesting, and acceleration of the stock options. So I see I have very limited time here. So what I'm going to do for sure is send out the presentation after the after our talk. What I'm probably going to do is jump towards the fundraising piece, and also there will be that startup law checklist that you guys can refer back to. So employment law compliance. Why do we care about employment law compliance? You know, we're like, okay, I can barely pay my engineer that requires, you know, sky-high salary here in Silicon Valley. Why do I even care about employment law? Well, you do need to understand employment law because then the government can end up charging you a large fine. And this is something Uber has faced recently because there's a disagreement. They say, oh, I think the Uber drivers that I've hired are not considered employees, so I don't need to pay all this withholding taxes that employees, for hiring an employee, a company needs to pay to this government and to the state government. So that's a big dispute, and you don't need to be that size to be able to start worry about the fines that the government the fines that the government might require you to pay. All right, so this is a nice chart, and again, you guys can look at it later, talking about how the 2 types of stock options, of restricted stock and stock bonuses, what are the tax implications, what are the differences, and I'll send it out so you guys don't have to worry about taking pictures. Sorry, I'm just trying to move on really fast. Okay, so in terms of fundraising, again, 3 key areas. One is just preparing for the financing. So you want to know that you have a clean cap table, and that just means, well, in very basic terms, clean cap table means anybody you've granted stock to and anybody who holds stock in the company, you kept track of, and with, you know, correctly. So, you know, there's no differences like you think you gave that person 5,000 shares, but another agreement says you gave them 10,000 shares. The clean cap table means everybody you gave stock to and everybody that holds stock in the company, you kept track of, and, you know, different types of stock maybe that they have, you know, maybe it's preferred, maybe common, whatever, and the numbers are all correct, all the conditions, like if there's investing, acceleration, you have all of those documents, that's clear. Financing, term sheet, Venture Deals is a great book, right? It goes through the different terms that you will negotiate with the investor on. And then financing documents, I have a very nice comparison table of convertible notes, KISS and SAFE. So if you're interested in that, you can ask me about it later, and I'm happy to share more information on that. Equity financing, those have their own documents as well. Investor rights agreement, voting agreement. So these are all things that we can help you dive through. All right, due diligence. So this is what I'll just go through really quickly because again, I'm running out of time. But sometimes people get confused. So what's the difference between a cap table, pro forma, stock ledger? So here's just sort of a short sample. So with a cap table, and again, this is just, you can do it in different formats. This is just a very simple sample. This is a summary cap table. So it just says, okay, I have common stock, I have how much options, I have how much preferred stock. And then you have more detailed tables saying, okay, these are all my specific shareholders. These are all specific who have stock options or warrants, convertible notes. So that's your capitalization table. Your pro forma, what it does is it says, okay, given who owns my company right now, how much, all that, if I raise, Series A or do convertible note at this valuation, this many shares, what will the ownership look like? How much am I getting diluted, right? That's the big word. Dilution for whatever investors you already have in the company, for yourself, for your employees. So the pro forma, how it's different from cap table, is it says, okay, given some round of financing, what will it look like then? All right, so legal due diligence. One thing I just want to highlight is why do investors care about your startup's risk and potential liabilities? Why do they want to know? So what happens during legal due diligence once you get to like the Series A round? So when you're doing convertible notes, there's not very much due diligence. Once you get to, say, Series A, what the investor, after you sign the term sheet, you're like, yes, everything's great now. And then you start doing legal due diligence. So what that means is the investor says, okay, give me basically all the documents you have about your company. So it could mean all your contracts, with partners, licensing, developers, consultants, everything. If you have convertible note investors, they'll want to see those convertible notes. They'll want to see everything. And what they're looking for, and they'll ask you, okay, has anybody threatened to sue? Do anybody have claims on your IP? They'll ask you all these things, and you provide that, even at Series A, right? And then they look for these things. Technology, all your contracts, all your employees, your advisors. Okay, is the IP appropriately assigned? So I do this when I'm representing investors. We look through each of those agreements, and we say, okay, look at the IP provision. Okay, IP is all correctly signed. They own their IP, great. Capitalization. So we go through all the documents. Oh wait, so you issue some stock options there, but it's not on your cap table. How much does it affect, the investor's valuation? If it's, like 5 shares difference, okay, it's typo, we'll figure out how to do it, how to fix it. If it's a lot of shares, right, a large percentage, then you kind of have an issue. And the biggest issue is when the investors say, we have to let the investor know, okay, how does everything look? What are the potential issues? And the investor says, I don't like that I have to deal with all this. Maybe we should renegotiate the price. And here you are, you're very happy, you signed a term sheet, and you just want to get the money. And 3 weeks into due diligence, you're like, wait, there's still more to renegotiate. What just happened? So this is why you want to have a good groundwork to begin with, so that when you're at that very key important moment, everything goes smoothly. people, teams, we talked about that, risks, it could be different for different company. If you're in a particular industry that have some regulatory framework, then they just want to make sure, okay, how is that going to affect? If we know a new law is going to come down on this topic, how might this affect the startup? So the investors will look into these liabilities as well. Okay, so so this is the last slide. I'm a startup, who would care? But the thing is, fines often cost more than doing it right the first time around. So for example, something as simple as filing a statement of information. So this is just for a company in California and for different states. Every year, you just need to file this statement of information. It's called different in different states. And what it is you say, okay, these are our officers, directors, so very basic stuff. And maybe there's like a $35 fee or something, or sometimes they make you pay a couple $100, like state tax. But if you don't do this for a few years, what they do is you basically get suspended. So your corporate status gets suspended. And what it takes to fix it is a lot of hassle, going to the government, paying up the taxes, paying up additional fines. And if your corporate status is no longer valid, that means the contracts you signed as the entity is kind of questionable. So the whole idea of setting up the corporate entity is to protect you from personal liability. If your corporation doesn't exist, you're not protected personally. So there's a way to fix it, but again, it's just a lot of hassle, it's a lot of fines, you still have to pay the same taxes and fees that were due anyways. So these are the reasons why. All right, so what I'm gonna do is leave the startup checklists somewhere that you guys can grab. So this is the part one of the checklist, but it's pretty easy. There's a lot of bold words in there to make it easy to read. Maybe I'll just pass it down the rows. Okay. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me later. I will be back later to moderate the corporate venture panel. And right now we have our AI startup demos.
Nice, thank you, Christina. Round of applause. And like Christina said, you guys can hear me okay in the back. If you want to stretch your legs for a couple minutes, grab a drink or a slice of pizza, I'm going to talk to you about something that I want you to do, which is check out these little flyers on the pillar for an event we call G Summit. I'll tell you about G Summit in 1 minute, and then Eva will tell you a little bit more about RobotX Space. But we'll have 5 pitches coming up in roughly 5 minutes or less. The pitches themselves will take longer. But if you're interested in AI, if you're starting an AI company, if you work in the tech space and your company is deploying the AI foundational technology in areas such as telecom, materials, fintech, education, transportation, we're going to gather 150 people in Pebble Beach. Tickets are about $1,000, so it's a good price. Use the scanner on your phone to scan the QR code. It'll take you right to our website. If you have any questions, talk to me anytime, any of us around. Thank you for showing up tonight. See some familiar faces. Thanks for coming out. Eva will tell you about RobotX Space.
Hi guys, thank you and welcome to the event. You just wonder why this space is so great and so many people come to here. Let me give you a very quick introduction of this space. So this is AI and robotics community. So we try to put everyone is here who is really interested about this topic. And now you can see we're the co-working space. We have 20 teams or more than that here with us. So we try to put the people together, and our mission is to build this AI community. So how can we do this? So this is the co-working space. I think this is the best one in the Santa Clara. And also every week we have the meetup. So that's enable us to connecting the tech savvy and the technology expert together. So every week, all these great speakers share the keynotes, share their knowledge about the frontier technology. And this is the recap picture of the previous meetup. And yeah, check our website. Every week we have a different topic. You will love it. And on top of that, we're helping the skilled talent and the technology company together by hosting the job fair every quarter. So last time we have the 600 people in this space, and all these companies stay with us, 20 of them. They will coming back for very soon. And yeah, and today is our second open to public demo day. And yeah, we will have the 5 team here with us. And yeah, now we have 100 investors in our connection and 150 startup teams with us. So we will have another different theme and topic demo day. So if you want to participate any future demo day, talk to me after this event. Quick recap. Yeah, this is our flow, and this is recap on our last month. It's a robotics same demo day. We have 7 teams there, and we have 150 attendees, 30 VCs, and 5 million. And great news is like we have 1 deal processing. Yeah, so let's welcome the first one of the artificial intelligence Minecraft. Let's welcome Joshua.
Well, thank you very much for the warm welcome. I'm Joshua Montgomery. I'm the CEO of Minecraft AI. I'm going to see if I can juggle both the cards, the clicker, and the microphone. So today I'm here to talk to you about the technology that is going to drive the next decade of innovation. Artificial intelligence. Self-driving cars, predictive medicine, automated financial planning. All of these technologies are here. And one of the key technologies driving our AI future is natural language processing. The ability of a computer system to understand human language and respond using the most intuitive form of communication, speech. Natural language processing will change the way that humans interact with machines. From call centers to restaurants to elder care, the ability to speak naturally with a computer system and receive a natural response is going to fundamentally change the technology landscape. And there's an entire community of developers and innovators out there that are looking to access this technology so that they can build new and creative products. But so far it's been the purview of a few large companies. Apple's Siri, Microsoft Cortana, Google Assistant, these technologies are walled off, proprietary, and secret. Not anymore. Meet Minecraft, the world's first open source artificial intelligence platform. Minecraft is truly an AI for everyone. It's an artificial intelligence platform that brings the power of natural language processing to the world of open source. That means the developers behind innovative technologies like Wikipedia or WordPress or Linux will finally have access to this groundbreaking technology. Minecraft is the open source community's answer to Siri or Amazon Alexa. Minecraft allows users to speak to their technology naturally and receive a natural response. We started the project by developing a wireless speaker with a high-quality microphone. This speaker is designed to be a reference device to give our developer community a foundation from which to innovate. To make it relatable and set a positive tone, we based it on WALL-E and EVA and Big Hero 6. We also wanted to encourage our community to hack, extend, and explore the technology, and so we based it on Raspberry Pi and Arduino, 2 very popular prototyping technologies. But Minecraft AI Inc. is not a device maker. In fact, we've open sourced our hardware schematic and are encouraging others to adopt our technology. Minecraft is a software platform that allows developers to add natural language processing to anything. And that's why our opportunity is huge. Minecraft is open. And so developers can include it in anything from an automobile to a microwave. A Minecraft-enabled car would allow you to ask, what's the tire pressure in the front right tire? And receive a natural response, 42 psi. It'll run on all major operating systems, which means it'll be available on nearly all of the 24 billion devices that'll be connected to the Internet of Things by 2020. As the first open source AI platform, we are the leaders in this space. And since open source software underpins everything from fitness trackers to mobile device, we're positioned to be a natural language platform of choice globally. Our advantage is that any software developer can download and install Mycroft free of charge. This broadens the mouth of our sales funnel and reduces risk for our paying customers. They know that they'll always have access to the underlying source code, and because Mycroft AI is here to help, they'll also have access to paid support. Of course, supporting customers is going to take a great team, and that's where we shine. We've got a CTO with more than 20 years experience leading developer communities, machine learning expertise, leadership with both military and entrepreneurial experience, and most importantly, a community of more than 1,000 developers that are contributing every day. And that's why we've got so much traction. In the spring of 15, we went to Kickstarter and raised more than $193,000. This brought talented developers like Sean Fitzgerald. Sean was the first hire at Siri, the second engineer on Echo. We began shipping developer kits in May of 2016, and were asked to join Techstars. We reached an agreement with Canonical Ltd. To ship on more than 40 million devices in the next 12 months, and in September of last year, we closed a $350,000 angel round. We won a $50,000 grant from Launch KC and another $50,000 from TechWeek, and in January, we accepted a strategic investment from Jaguar Land Rover. We also became the first Kansas company to join 500 startups. In May, we moved on to the second round of the IBM Watson AI X Prize, and had accepted a spot at the prestigious Mass Challenge program. We are now positioned, and I'm happy to announce that we're in the process of closing a seed round of $1.1 million, which is significantly oversubscribed. We're now positioned to be a world leader in this important technology platform. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Joshua. Next up, we're going to have Pony AI, Leo.
Hello everyone, my name is Leo from Pony AI. So I'm gonna do a very short pitch session for my company. I'm a staff engineer from Pony AI. So this is our slogan, the road is life. So what are we doing? We are working on full autonomous driving cars. So we were founded last December. We founded with a vision. We think it's time for us to bring the latest breakthrough in AI to the general public. So we want to revolutionize the public transportation system. So our mission is very clear. We want to create the most safe, reliable, and cost-effective solutions for full autonomous driving vehicles. And this is our first platform. We are rolling out this first platform, and we have a rapid growing team in both Silicon Valley and Beijing. One thing I think many people are asking me when you are developing the autonomous driving vehicles, what are actually your vehicles are perceived about the surrounding when it's on the road. So I want to show a video that's from our first prototype. So this is taking place in the South Bay. As you can see that while our vehicle is driving, actually it perceives the surroundings through its LiDAR. And we do all kinds of the fusion here with the camera, LiDAR, and radar, so that you have 360 view of the surrounding. So you will know which car are passing you, which car is leaving you, which car is approaching you. You need to have this kind of view all the time in order to do the full autonomous driving. So why us? We were founded by a group of distinguished talents who has many years already working in this area. Many of us have had previous experience building and with the hands-on experience. And we have very close collaboration with the hardware and also sensor vendors. We already received top-notch VC fundings. And what we are looking for the candidates for making autonomous driving vehicles, we think first of all you need to have very solid and broad tech background, because autonomous driving vehicle is a very complicated system. You need to have the background of computer vision, deep learning, system integration, sensor, hardware, as well as big data processing. So we are looking for candidates who have that much of knowledge and hands-on experience. On top of that, we are looking for quality-driven development. Our principle is first, safety first. So in order to assure safety first, we must develop top quality product. So we really looking into developers' code quality at this moment. And then you need to have passion on road. So in order to develop a autonomous vehicle, you have to ride with it. You have to experience it. You cannot build it in the lab, in the office, but the vehicle space is very confined, so you have to deal with it. Last but not least, we are looking for someone who has craftsmanship. This is very important. So if you have more questions, you can ask me. I will be at that booth. Thank you.
Hey, Yumi, next up with LEAD. LEAD is an AI-enabled mentorship platform to empower women called LEAD. And welcome, Yumi.
Thank you. My name is Yumi. I'm a CEO and co-founder for LEAD. LEAD is an AI-enabled mentorship platform aimed to empower women. So let me tell you a story about this picture, kind of scary. So when I was in college back in Japan, I worked as a full-time recruiter in a recruiting company using LinkedIn search for candidates. I closed many deals, but I never get paid enough. And then I asked my manager, why? He's like, you're a woman and you're married. We're not sure how long you're gonna work for this company. I told him, I want to talk to your manager. He was like, go talk. I will blackmail you. So I had to shut up and quit the company, just like her, worry about her career and reputation. Right now, the girl from Uber, she had the same worry, and then Uber had to fire 20 people, including the SVP with engineering to solve the problem. So right now, when in the US, we still have a problem. I was 1 out of 3 women being harassed in her life. In technology, that's 60% of women being harassed. So if you're a man, you should be worried because your daughter, girlfriend, future wife, might be harassed by some man you know or you don't know. And then women never earn as much as men and never hold both seat and everything like men. So how to fix it is to increase more women leaders in the workforce. And we are trying to solve that with AI. So we found out that good mentors can help a lot of women to grow. So the problem is it's very hard to find a good mentor and mentee fit, especially find someone who shares the same interest, sense of value, experience in life, and also the same industry and job function. So we will use the LinkedIn data and the Facebook and also our platform LEAD, and also natural language processing and also machine learning to find this profile like this. And this is our product. Sorry, do you know how to click this? Which one? It comes with a website and the app. Sorry.
That's great. Alright, let's play the video directly. Yes.
Thank you. So the newsfeed actually catered to your industry, job function, and the age group. And the people can be very similar to you, and you can try to talk to them. It fits with a women's natural that you want to know someone before you talk to them. And then you can find the people through the purpose, and then you can also request for mentorship, and then they can see your profile and have a conversation here. And then later you can have this Q&A, and it's very anonymously. So basically you can ask the questions that's pretty secret way, and the people can answer you without being embarrassed. So the market is really huge, because if we put all the women to work, the GDP will raise the amount the US and China's last year's GDP combined together will be this huge. And the first we're talking the US, second Japan because I'm from Japan, and then later China and the world. We're very different from other companies. I already explained why. Many people were concerned about LinkedIn. Well, it's a database for resumes, so we're very different. We'll go to market. So basically, we're targeting the tech and the finance entertainment with women leaders, and then we will collaborate with the existing leaders, men and women, and also companies and mentorship organizations that want to empower women. You don't really need to connect with 1 million women, you just need to connect with a few that actually can help you, and that's why we are there to match you with them. So we're planning to have 18 months runway to reach 1.2 million users. And then the monetization is for ads, premium content subscription, training, branding, recruiting, and eventually SaaS. Again, you heard me, it's SaaS. So, so I'm a former country manager for Made2 Japan. I started the Japan team from scratch, increased 8 million users for them last year. And then my co-founder is a full stack engineer with AI experience. We have professors from Stanford Engineer School, and then first hiring box, and then AI PhD as our advisor. We're raising 1 million, and then 2 rounds. So the first round is the one that on the left, 300K. We already have 100K committed, and half of them is already in the bank. And then we will start to monetize from the 2nd year and become profitable for the 4th year. So gender equality does not come by itself. It requires action, and it's not just by me. It requires your effort as well. So maybe you can join us as a mentor, maybe investor, advisor. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Yumi. Next up is Deep Graham, AI speech research, and welcome to the floor, Scott.
Thank you. So I'm Scott. I'm CEO and co-founder of DeepGram. So at DeepGram we build AI audio brains, and essentially what that means is ingesting tons of audio, especially really crappy audio, like phone calls that have 2 people, fighting, or things like that, and for a large enterprise. And there are other applications of our technology, but that's our vertical. So in these types of companies, we have been able to help literally just by integrating with DeepGram to increase their revenue by 3%. And this is by analyzing their sales phone calls, or by analyzing and stopping compliance and lawsuits and things like that. So I want to tell you why we're able to do that. And so phone calls, maybe some of you have tried to actually do like a transcription, or maybe you've used Siri before and tried to do something, and you're like, wow, this kind of sucks, it doesn't work very well. And that's true, things are getting better there. People like DeepGram, Google, Facebook, etc., Baidu, Microsoft, they're working on these problems. But still, in the phone call world, between 2 people on a compressed, really low data rate line, things like that, your word error rate is 50%. Every other word it gets wrong. And here's an example, 1, 2, 3, 4. I spoke this into Siri yesterday. It said, why do 3, 4? I don't even know why. Out of the context, why do 3, 4? It doesn't make any sense, right? But these companies want not just accurate transcription. It would be really great if you could get 100% accurate transcription, right? Every single word is right. That is not going to happen anytime soon. Vocabularies are too large, you know, and also people have proper nouns. There's all sorts of weird stuff that is said, and you're not going to get it all totally perfect. But those companies then, on the other hand, they have to try to figure out how to deal with this data. So what they really want, actually, a person is not going to sit down and read that transcript. They want search, and they want to be able to predict what that audio is about, and that's what we do. But to speak to the speech recognition accuracy, we have just done recent tests. We are going to do some PR and things like that soon. But on this type of audio, two-way conversation, phone calls, our production version of our speech systems are 3% more accurate than Google's production systems. And our search accuracy is way better. This comes from the fact that we output deep neural networks that have way more information than the words. It'll have the sounds, shape of sounds. It kind of knows about thoughts and objects and things like that. And you can find things much more accurately that way. So why are we able to do this? So I'm actually a particle physicist. I have not started a company before. DeepGram has been around for 2 years now, though, so we've been doing it a while. We kind of know what we're doing now. But before, what I did was build deep underground dark matter experiments. So this is Jinping Dam in western China, near Xichang, and this was being built at the time, and when we started, it kind of looked like this. By the time our experiment finished, the dam was finished as well. But what we were doing is, this is me underground as well. It's 2 miles underground. It's essentially a James Bond lair. It kind of looks like this. And this is what our experiment looked like as it was being constructed. And what we're doing here is looking for dark matter. And essentially what you do is take a ton of physics data and then search for a needle in a haystack. You want to find like 1 or maybe 3 events, something like that, out of like 4 billion. And that's what we got really good at. And you do it using, we did it as a small team using machine learning and AI. And I bring this up as, this is what audio looks like. Okay, this is not actually a non sequitur. This data is pretty much what looks like what comes out of a particle physics experiment. It's just an analog signal. And this is what we got really good at finding stuff in this, but this is just audio, essentially. And so we took our technology and applied it there. So just to give you a flavor of what this looks like, this is that same signal with a fast Fourier transform over 2D, but it looks like this pretty picture of fire, right? And you do the same analysis on that, ton of audio, and you search for moments inside. So we take that audio, we generate a deep neural index. It doesn't just store words, it stores all sorts of other things, and then we can do a search through that audio, and just like in Google, type it in, and then go find the moment where it's said. With that type of search, you can also do really good prediction. And so, just to point out again, this is not just speech to text, although yes, we do speech to text. If you need speech to text, come to DeepGram, that's fine. But we do other things that are much more deep as well. And just to point out how this works a little bit, so this is actually a recording of me saying, I am a human, saying human things. But there's some patterns in here. As you can see, that kind of looks like that. Well, that's the S on things, and this is the S on saying, okay? It's very high frequency, essentially. And then if you look at these other patterns, they're a little bit more subtle. This is the H on human, and the other H on human. And then you can also see that human and human look kind of similar, right? So these are the types of patterns that we're looking for in the audio, and which makes it so much more accurate. So I'm kind of running out of time here, but you kind of get the point. This technique is really strong. And we work mostly in the financial vertical with retail banks, investment banks, mortgage banks, things like that. And they're trying to optimize their processes or not get sued, things like that. And we're a Y Combinator company. 1 year ago, we were in Y Combinator, the same investor that's invested in Dropbox, Airbnb, Stripe, etc. And we're a partner with NVIDIA, hardware partner, also sales, enterprise sales, and things like that. We've been talking about CV Insights and Goldman Sachs, and recently Gartner. I haven't added that to the slide, but it's out there if you see it. So we do speech AI at scale, and I'm mostly talking to the engineers in the crowd. If you guys are good, definitely, come talk to me. We have a careers page, etc. We're looking for good people that like to get dirty with tons of data and make really awesome speech models. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Scott. And everybody, this is our last pitch before the panel. We have a great panel with some amazing investors, VCs coming up. Christina will moderate, but I'd like to introduce Hung Guo from iMed.ai, an AI-aided medical image diagnosis system.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Dai and founder of iMed. And our company is located in Shanghai and also in Beijing. And what we do, actually, we are doing development for AI to medical imaging diagnosis system. We use for and will be improve accuracy of diagnosis and also lower and misdiagnosis rate. And that will be significantly reduce workload of specialists. And our products already we made, we call the prototype of the first product, they already ready. And our goal is positioned to be the leading company in that segment. And the problem is, we know there's many misdiagnoses in the clinical situation. And that is about 27%, and also malignant tumor is about 40%. So particularly, there's big shortage of specialists. The imaging data is grows 30% yearly, and specialists only grows 4%. And also you can see if specialists such little and this imaging data is such huge, so they are overloaded, and that will cause more problem and also misdiagnosis. And our competition is because we develop what we call spatial deep neural network and structure, and also our team has 10 years plus AI imaging experience with top medical expert, and we can obtain the big data and also potential clients. And we already completed the product prototype, and we have technology to protect safety and privacy. So advantage, our products, number one is fast, just seconds. So high accuracy is equal and or better than single expert. And also very low cost. You cannot compare with the specialists because very low cost and easy to use. Just minutes you can learn. And also anytime and anywhere you can use computer and smartphone and also tablets. And high efficient and also reduce workload and continue without any interruption. So fully automated and also stable judgment. And doctor doesn't, doctor may influence by emotion, but the machine does not. So, and our business model is with each type of the AI model in the hospital. And we have protection 100 hospital